Welcome guys, for this week's track guide we're going to be going out of course Mexico, since we have the Mexican Grand Prix this weekend, and I want you guys to be as quick around the circuit as you possibly can. So as usual, going to be taking you around the track slowly, making sure to give you guys as much detail as I can on how to be quick, and then I'll show you guys in real time how to drive this circuit flat out. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. Okay, so going into the final corner, guys, you want to be taking the corner, of course, as wide as possible. One of the longest start-finishing line straights of the entire Canada here at Mexico. Just try to get the traction down as smoothly as you can, and then you're starting a lap around this very difficult circuit. The first sector, probably one of the worst first sectors in my personal opinion in Formula 1, or at least in the games anyway. In real life, it looks a lot more easy to manage, but in the game, you want to be taking as much curb as you can towards the first corner, braking at roughly around about 110, as close as you can to the 100. I feel like braking on the 100 would be a little bit too late. In 8th gear, then you want to go down into 4th gear for this first corner, turning in just after the 50 there. Make sure to hit the apex right about here. Don't want to go too much more than that, or else you will unsettle the car. Carry the speed in 4th gear here. Now here is where things get a little bit tricky. And obviously whatever you do just depends on your driving style. You can go into 3rd gear for this corner. I believe I stayed in 4th in my lap, or you can stay in 4th. You want to ride over this curb, which can unsettle the car quite a lot, but you have to do it anyway if you want to get the best line into this next corner. And then 5th gear into this corner, don't ride over the curb because it will unsettle you too much on the exit, and then just drag the car out as wide as you can, which is around about here. What I've noticed with the track limits here is if you get 3 tires on the white line or past the white line, you'll get an invalidation. So even if you keep your front right off of the white line, if your back right goes over the white line, it will count as an invalidation. So you want to try and make sure that the car is balanced coming out of this corner, and then open up the RS. And that is the first sector done, but still very, very tricky. Next corner, going to be in 8th gear coming into it. You want to brake on the 100 using all the curb that you can going into it. Maximum straight line on the brakes, and then you once again down into 4th gear, and then hit the curbing right here. And then this corner is a little bit tricky, especially on the controller. So what you want to do is you want to try and drag the car towards the middle of the track, because if you go any more left than this, then you're just wasting time going too far off the track. So try and get the car in the middle here, and then downshift into 3rd gear, and then just carry the speed through. You want to roll the car through this corner, get your foot on the throttle just before you hit the apex, just slightly. I'll probably show the telemetry on the screen right about now, so you want to be just slight with it, and then just apply more throttle as time goes on. And then usually, you know, by the time you get here, you're gonna be around about the maximum amount of throttle that you're gonna be putting on throughout this corner. It's very, very short distance to the next corner, so it's sort of a quick thing. By the time you get to almost full throttle, you're already going to be towards the braking zone, which is this black pole here. Just before you get to this black pole, that's when you want to be on the brakes. You're going to be in 4th gear once again, so you want to downshift into 3rd gear again and just roll the car through, hitting this curbing and this curbing if you possibly can here, right here. Then upshift to 4th, get your foot on the throttle as soon as you can using all the track on the exit, and then you're bumping it down to the S section here at Mexico, which is one of the more difficult sections in Formula 1. Just after you get to this black box, so right about here, downshift into 5th gear, and then you want to ride over this grass part here with your left hand side of the car. Now this curb is a little bit more difficult to do on this year's game. Usually on F1 2021 or 2020, you would take this curb completely flat and you'd be fine. However, the curb can actually bottom out the car, so you want to be careful with this one. You don't want to be fully flat out yet. You just want to be, as you know, roughly about 90%, I'd say, for this one. And then as soon as you come off the curb, that's when you go 100% on the throttle, or else you can get wheel spin, and that wheel spin can result in the car bottoming out, and then you just spin. Then you want to take this curbing as well, as much as you can. Stay in 6th gear until you get to around about here, and then as soon as you get to around about this part here, still flat out by the way, in qualifying, that's when you want to hit 7th gear. In the race, you're probably going to have to lift throughout this section, but in qualifying it's definitely flat. And then once again 7th gear through here, flat out, open up DRS, and that's the end of sector 2. And now you've got the final sector, the stadium section, which is a really good section in my opinion. I enjoy driving this last sector. So 100 meter board, in 8th gear, down into 4th gear, straight line. Just as you're coming up to the 50, that's when you want to start turning in. You want to make sure that you're hitting the curb right here, right where the red sausage curb is there, and then get your foot on the throttle as much as you can. Try and drag the car out wide without going too far. Of course, you don't want to invalidate here. Can be easy. Now for this next section, just keep it in 4th until you get to the braking zone here, which is just before the black box. Try and take a wider line and try and straight line the car for this one as well, because then you can really turn in and carry more speed into this corner. 3rd gear for this corner, just right around about here is when you want to start getting on the throttle. And then what I tend to do is on this year's game, I tend to miss riding over this section here because I feel like it unsettles the car just a bit too much. So just miss it. 3rd gear, upshift to 4th gear, just after the black box once again, just roll the car into this corner, keep it in 4th gear, hit the curbing there, then boom, get your foot on the throttle as quickly as you can, drag the car back over to the right hand side so that you can stay tight, and then that is a lap around Mexico.
So that last lap was a 1 minute 14.9.
So that is how you tackle the Mexican circuit on F122. As per usual, I want you guys to leave me a comment on how much time you were able to gain thanks to this track guide. Make sure to click around about here for a playlist of all the other track guides if you've missed them and you want to improve at other tracks on the F1 game. And I'll catch you guys in my next one.